Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review to Everton's embarrassing 2-0 defeat to Fulham at Craven Cottage. I'm laughing because as the title of the stream says, we literally Everton'd it. We all sat here in the preview and we all said, listen, on paper we should win this game. This should be a pretty straightforward win, going off our previous results and going off Fulham's form and the fact that, listen, they've been relegated from the Premier League because they're not good enough to be in this league. We should win this game. However, we support Everton Football Club and we know that that's probably not going to be the case. Listen, we were shocking on Saturday. We were absolutely awful. There's not that much to say about the game other than the fact that we were absolutely awful. It was embarrassing. I'll describe it as we didn't turn up. We didn't look like we wanted to fight. We didn't look like we wanted to give 110%. We literally turned up to the game. We were arrogant. We were naive and we thought that Fulham would just sit there and roll over and let us beat them, and they didn't. Fulham done exactly what we all sat here and said they'd do in the game preview. They turned up, they fought, and they went out with a little bit of pride and they thought, you know what, we're not going to play many more games at Craven Cottage in the Premier League, certainly not in the near future, so we're going to go out here and we're going to enjoy ourselves, and that's exactly what they done. And I said in the Means That Match reaction, Fulham looked like the side that were chasing top 7 and we looked like the side that had been relegated and had nothing to play for. We were absolutely awful. Marco Silva got the tactics wrong for me. I think the team, listen, we predicted the exact same team as what Marco Silva went with, and I know there was fans going at the decision to start Jagielka, and I know that was a little bit controversial, but for me, you know, it might be a controversial opinion, but I didn't mind the decision to start Phil Jagielka. I thought that Phil Jagielka had a really, really good game against Arsenal last time out. Regardless of his goal, take away his goal, I've seen some fans saying, oh, it was a lucky goal, this, that. I'm not talking about the goal. I thought defensively he was absolutely amazing. However, on Saturday, he was poor. But it wasn't just him, he wasn't the only poor one. I've seen a lot of fans going at him on Twitter saying, why is Jagielka starting? He was awful. He was awful, but Seamus Coleman was shite. Luca Dean had a poor game and Kurt Zuma didn't do anything either. I thought as a team, as a whole, we were really, really poor. We couldn't keep the ball for more than 30 seconds. Every time we got it in the midfield, it was getting given away. I don't think the players were given enough effort tracking back. Certainly on the second goal, literally Ryan Babel runs from the halfway line and there's 3 Everton players around him and they're just jogging to get back. Andre Gomez is looking at him, just walking as if he's on a beach in Spain, and Babel just runs through the centre of them all and slots it under Jordan Pickford. It's absolutely shocking. A player shouldn't be able to run from the halfway line and do that to you. It's awful. It really, really is. But that summed up our performance on Saturday. We were absolutely shocking, and it was that poor that you're sitting there watching that game of football and you start to watch and you start to think, they're not interested. We're not interested in this game. We've gone out there and we've done the worst mistake we could have done on Saturday is go out there and think, we'll win this game, it's sound. Let's not worry about it. Marco Silva should have drilled into them players. Look what happened 4 weeks ago against Newcastle. We were 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go and we still didn't win that game of football. Any other team in the Premier League, if that had been City, the Shite, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, they'd have gone out there in some way or another, they'd have won that game of football, even if they did go out a little bit, arrogant and a little bit naive, but not with Everton. We have to give 110% against every single team, otherwise we're not getting a result. And we can beat any team in the Premier League convincingly on our day, when we're fighting, when we're giving passion, when we're arrogant, when we're chasing balls down, when we're creating chances. But we could also be beaten by any team in the league when we're not doing that, and that's exactly what happened on Saturday. We were beaten by a team that's already been relegated, that were purely playing for the entertainment value and for enjoying their football. And fair enough, credit to Fulham. Listen, full credit to Fulham. They turned up and they deserved the win. There was no part of our game where you thought, we've been a little bit unlucky there. We probably should have, we could have been a bit more lucky. We could have created it. We were just shocking. We literally were just shocking, and we didn't look interested at all in the entire game. I thought the attacking line done nothing. The midfield were poor and the defence were poor as well. And Jordan Pickford may be the only player that can held his head a little bit high for a couple of good saves he made in the first half, but other than that, we were really, really poor, and that was the fear going into this game. That was why Evertonians had been looking on this game and no one had sat there and gone, we'll batter these. Well, absolutely bladder these. We might have sat there and gone, a little bit confident about this one. 3 really, really good wins in recent weeks. These have been relegated. They're not that good. Quite confident. But we all had that sort of inner feeling of, but hang on, let's not get too ahead of ourselves because we know Everton and we know what Everton can do. And we done what we do. This is why it's called an Everton. This is why it is how it is, because we've done this for years. Not just under Marco Silva. We've done this for years. We've turned up against teams that on paper we should absolutely walk through, and we've been beaten after, beating teams that on paper we shouldn't, even be competing with. And that's the really, really disappointing thing for me. And again, just as you're thinking, have we turned the corner? Are we coming out the other end of it? The 17-day break, we can accept the Newcastle game as a little bit of a blip, but if we come around the end of it, no, that inconsistency strikes you again. And here's an Everton team turning up, getting beaten by a team that we should be beating all day long. And it's even more annoying. It's even more upsetting the fact that Wolves drop points and Leicester drop points over the weekend, and Watford don't play till tonight. So we could have been sitting in 7th position literally now if we'd have just turned up and we'd have thought, no, you know what, let's not underestimate Fulham. Let's not go out there and think they'll roll over. Let's go out, let's give it 110%, let's attack them, and let's do exactly what we done last week against Arsenal. Let's do exactly what we done 3 weeks ago against Chelsea. Let's do exactly what we done against West Ham, and let's go out there and constantly create chances and treat this team like they're a team that are fighting for 7th, or like they're a team that are fighting for Champions League. Don't treat them like they're a team that have already gone down. And we treated them like they're a team that have already gone down, and they turned up and they thought, well, you know what, we're already playing in the Championship next season, so the odd few games we've got left in the Premier League, at Craven Cottage, let's just have a little bit of fun. Let's just, enjoy it. Let's go out there and go out with a little bit of pride. And that's exactly what they done. They played with pride, and we played like we couldn't be arsed. And for me, it wasn't good enough. Marco Silva said in his post-game press conference that we lacked aggression. We didn't have enough aggression on and off the ball. And I think that, for me, in other words, he's wrapped that up to basically say we weren't arsed. We didn't look arsed the entire game, and the players weren't arsed, and you can't not be arsed. We're not sitting comfortable in 7th. We're not sitting comfortable in a Champions League spot. We're not 11th, 12th with nothing to play for. We're sitting there, we're fighting for the European place. And if these players want Europa League football, if Marco Silva wants to play in Europe, he should have been given everything that we had. It should have been an exact replica of a performance on Saturday as the one against Arsenal. We should have gone out there and blew Fulham away. We can't afford to just go out and not look arsed, but that's exactly what we done on Saturday. And like I said, it was embarrassing. It really, really was. We'll go in to talk about Marco Silva's team in just a minute. Let's just jump into the live comments. Jamie says the one word that comes to mind for our season is inconsistent. Exactly. Spot on, mate. From first game to last game, it's that inconsistency that kills you, because you get your hopes up and you're sitting there, and we're all sitting there going, oh, 2 wins against top 6 sides, a really, really good win against West Ham, who are a team we're fighting with. If we turn the corner, we'll win this game as well. We'll go on, we'll beat Man United, and then this happens, and you're sort of sitting there like, well, are we just the mid-table side that we all thought we were when we got beat by Wolves at Goodison Park? And it's that inconsistency that really, really does kill you. But I agree 100%. That's something that we need to stamp out. I like Marco Silva, and I think you all know I want him to be the manager at Everton Football Club next season, because I think we've seen signs of a manager that understands how we need to play going forward. And listen, 23 shots or whatever it was against Arsenal is fantastic, but he needs to be able to stamp that inconsistency out, or there will be questions asked next season. John says, are you going on the United stand again this week? I'm not too sure yet. I'm still waiting for a response, so I'm not too sure, but hopefully we'll see what happens. Jamie says, I'm sure we messed up a lot of accumulators, including mine. Exactly we did. We lost some people some money, so I don't know, maybe we get some sort of sick enjoyment out of that, but not for ourselves, no. Matthew says, Robin Hood FC, take the rich, give to the poor, we'll probably beat United and lose to Burnley. Exactly, and as that not being the story, it's been the story of being an Evertonian since I've been born, as we go out there, we put ultimate fight in, ultimate passion in against the top sides, and then we play somebody that aren't as good, and we go, you know what, you can have a win. I'd said it over the Christmas period, all as we done from December to January, February, is just go, here's 3 points, here's 3 points, here's 3 points, Van Dijk, Klopp, here's a little 3-pointer there for you, mate. But Benitez, there you go, there's a little 3 points, mate, have that one. That's all we done. Pochettino, yeah, yours is wrapped up with a bow on it, mate. That's all we done over that period of time, and it's not good enough. We need to get that consistency, and just at a point where you're thinking, have we got that consistency? Have we got it now? Can we finish the season strong? And then go, okay, we had a dry spell, we had a spell where we were really, really poor, but we come out of it and we ended like this. Just as you think that might be happening, we go and have this game, and you think, okay, it's all back to how it was really. Where are we? Jared says, why do you think Mourinho was there? I don't know, mate. I don't know, to be honest with you. Dare say he lives in London and he probably just wanted to watch a game of football, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything in the Mourinho rumours to Everton. David says, Silva must have battered the lads at half-time, yet still got no response from anyone, and he was banging the Europa drum last week. Exactly, and he must have, but again, that's a little bit worrying for me, because he come out against after the Chelsea game, and he come out and he said, listen, I took them in at half-time, and I said, this is not how we played, this is not how we've been training at a Finch Farm during the week, go out there and play how we've been training. So if it worked against Chelsea and if the lads come out, which we clearly seen quite a significant difference from that first half to the second half in the Chelsea game, why didn't it work today? Has Silva gone in on Saturday? Has Silva gone in and give them a similar team talk, or has he gone in and went, you know what, it's 0-0 at half time, sort of play it off a little bit, maybe don't harm yourself too much, we've got Man United next week? Because if he's gone out there and he's give the exact same team talk as he did against Chelsea and saying this isn't good enough, you need to play how I've taught you to play, and they haven't responded, then that's a massive problem for me. It really is a big issue. I'm just going to tweet this team out so everybody on Twitter knows that we are live. Bear with me just a couple of seconds, of course. But yeah, leave your thoughts and all your comments, of course, in the comment section about what you think about Saturday. I just think, listen, I managed to get a 7-minute instant match reaction out of it, but to be honest, all as I felt like saying when I started filming that instant match reaction was, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I don't know what it is. Just Everton. It is just Everton. And you're watching that game, and like I said, for me, listen, I'm massive Evertonian. Always have been, will be all my life. I've got Nil Satis Nizzy Optimum tattooed on my body. I've been an Evertonian since I come out the womb, and I will be until I pass away. Been all around the world to watch Everton. Been to Goodison Park every season for the last however many seasons. But I was watching that game and I thought, I'm not interested in this. I'm getting disinterested, because I think as an Evertonian, you have to learn to follow the emotions of the players, because the players weren't interested, and I can't change it sitting on my couch watching the game. And those lads out there are running around not interested at all, and it's frustrating and it's upsetting, but you can't change it. So I was sitting there thinking, I wonder what beer's in the fridge for me to have a pint tonight. I wonder what I can have for me tea. And you might sit there and go, oh, shit fan. But, what I was watching was 11 players waltz around the football pitch getting upwards of 60 grand a week, not arsed whatsoever. And Marco Silva pretty much admitted that in his post-game press conference, that we didn't show enough aggression on and off the ball, is the players were not arsed. And that's a massive problem. And he needs to be going in there and saying, screw the fancy talk, why weren't you asked? Why didn't you turn up today? Because he needs to be showing them the Watford result, the Wolves result, the Leicester results, and go and see that would have been 7th there. And if we'd have been 7th there, we'd have had something to clearly fight for. Beat Man United, they'll get turned over in the final by City, Watford, and we could have finished in a European Cup place. What now? That was probably the easiest game we had in this run, and we're being beaten. But you expect it as an Evertonian. You expect it. I expected that. As soon the first 5 minutes, I knew something wasn't right. The first 5 minutes, I knew that we hadn't turned up. I knew that we weren't playing exactly like we did against Arsenal. We weren't pressing high enough. I think for me, you can watch an Everton squad, and if you watch, and I'm not out and out. I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm not saying he didn't play well, so the team didn't play well. But if you watch Gylfi Sigurdsson, you can almost tell the tactics that the whole team is being given based around watching Gylfi Sigurdsson. If you watch an Everton team and Gylfi Sigurdsson is chasing down every single ball, and he's constantly on the defender's toes, and he's sweating, and he's constantly getting the ball, they're being told to press high and create opportunities. If he's waltzing around the midfield and he's not doing much, then there's obviously been a very different team talk, and that was what it looked like against Fulham. The team didn't press high enough. The team didn't create enough opportunities, and we were sloppy on the ball. We were really sloppy on the ball. Every time we had the ball, we give it away, because what Fulham were doing was they were doing exactly what we done against Arsenal. They were pressing high and they weren't giving us a minute. And for me, the likes of Idrissa Gana Gueye, I love him. I think he's a fantastic footballer. He needs to be better on the ball, because he gets the ball, and if someone's running at him, it's going out or it's going to their player, and that needs to improve. And like I said, he mightn't be here next season, so mightn't even be a conversation, but that needs to improve in the entire squad. There's too many players in our squad that aren't comfortable on the ball, and that got exploited on Saturday. Listen, Alexander Mitrovic, he didn't score. I don't think he was directly involved in either of the goals, but he was an absolute nuisance from minute 1 to minute 90. Alexander Mitrovic, and I said this in my instant match reaction as well, put in the performance that Dominic Calvert-Lewin put in against Arsenal. He sat in between the two centre-halves and he went, you know what, I'm going to be an absolute pain in the arse today, and I'm going to allow Babel, I'm going to allow the players, Tom Kearney, I'm going to allow the players on the right hand and the left hand side and through the middle to do the bits around me. They can pass the ball, they can create the opportunities, they can score the goals. I'm just going to be a pain in the arse to you two. And that's exactly what he done, and that's exactly what Dominic Calvert-Lewin done against Arsenal the week before. He sat in between the two defenders and he said, I'll let Richarlison, I'll let Bernard do the work, and I'm just going to be in a pain in the arse. And we all sat after that game and went, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was fantastic today. He was a real threat. He was a nuisance all game. So how didn't Marco Silva and the squad look at that and go, you know what, Mitrovic is probably going to do the same against us next week, because he hasn't got loads of pace, he's not fantastic on the ball, he's not the best goal scorer, he's physical, he's strong, and he carries his weight, and he's probably going to throw it about. We should have been aware of that before the first whistle even went. We should have knew that that's exactly how he was going to play, and the players around him were going to play the football, and he was just going to be the nuisance, and we couldn't keep up with it. We could not keep up with it at all, and it was exactly like Arsenal's defenders, couldn't keep up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin last week. We couldn't do it this week with Alexander Mitrovic, and we'll go through the team in just a second. But listen, like I said, it was just shocking. It was embarrassing. It literally was embarrassing. There's not much more to say other than the fact that it was an embarrassing defeat. Where are we? David says 14 losses so far, nowhere near good enough for Machiri or Brands or us as fans. Exactly, and I dare say Machiri and Brands wouldn't have been happy by that performance and that result on Saturday. But it's up to Machiri and Brands now, as well as Silva, to try and eradicate these type of performances and to try and get rid of them going into next season, and we do that by a big summer. Paul says, watched Everton for far too long to get excited after the 3 good performances. Losing to Fulham wasn't a surprise for me. Exactly, 100%, Paul, and that's why I got a little bit disinterested, because I knew what was coming. I knew that we were going to get beaten in that game, and you might have seen my instant match reaction. It wasn't necessarily angry, it wasn't necessarily frustrating, because I knew that was going to happen. I knew as soon as we turned up and underestimated Fulham, as soon as we turned up with an arrogant approach to ourselves, that was going to happen. We were going to be beaten in that game, and that's exactly what happened. And like you said there, Paul, we've seen it far too many times as Evertonians to be surprised by it, which is worrying in itself. Stoll says, no doubt we had a good team, but the serious mentality issues. When we've won a few games, expectations rise, we crumble every time. Don't know how it'll change, to be honest, but I hope it does. Spot on, mate, spot on again. I think, mentality, it's up here. Listen, our 11 versus their 11, we should have smashed them off the park about 5 or 6-0. We smashed West Ham off the park, we smashed Arsenal off the park, we smashed Chelsea off the park. We should have smashed them off the park quite easily on Saturday, but because up here we didn't. Because either the pressure got to them or they just didn't want to turn up. And the thing is with our players is we haven't got the luxury of a Manchester City where we've got the quality of player that can turn up and not really be asked about the game of football but still walk away with a win. Our players aren't that good enough. Like I said at the start of the season, we have to give 110%. We have to be on our ball. And if we are on our ball, we'll have beaten Fulham. And we'll have probably beaten them quite convincingly. But we didn't. We let it go. We weren't on our ball. And we decided that we were just going to turn up, stroll around, a little bit naive and go, we'll win this game anyway. And we got what we deserved. We absolutely got what we deserved. David says, I wonder if Brand says anything to the lads. He's always in the dressing room at the end of the game. I dare say he does. I dare say when Brands walks into that dressing room, players are looking at him going, shit. Is he here because he's looking at me going, you're not good enough, I'm going to replace you? Is he here because he's thinking, you can go in the summer and we'll bring other players in? I dare say they are a little bit intimidated by Marcel Brands, and I will be as well, because at the end of the day now, Marcel Brands is a member of the board. He is higher up than Marco Silva in the in the hierarchy of Everton Football Club. Yes, his job is to be the director of football and to work directly with Marco Silva on transfers, etc. But he's on the board, so if he doesn't like what he sees, he goes to Mr. Machiri and Mr. Kenwright. So players will be intimidated by his presence, and they should be as well. Players should be going into that dressing room going, I need to give 158% today, because that's a random number, 158%. And anyway, I need to give every single ounce of sweat I've got, because this man might come in the dressing room afterwards and say, you're not good enough, you're going in the summer. And I mightn't get another move that pays me as much as this one. That's how the players should be reacting, and it worried me that they didn't on Saturday. David says a few new players will change it. Look at the bench, we had no one to change the game. Exactly, and they will. A couple of fresh transfers will no doubt bring an added element to the squad. Exactly, you're spot on there. Looking at the bench, we didn't really have anyone that you were confident could come on and change the game. Tosun come on. Typical Tosun performance. He put one over the bar and proved that he's a nice lad. He seems like a genuine bloke, but he's not good enough for me. Ademola Lookman, I don't know, and Theo Walker for me isn't good enough either. Matthew says, we haven't half dropped points against absolute crap this season. Huddersfield at home, Newcastle away, Fulham away. Imagine where we'd be. Exactly, and we say this every season. Imagine where we'd be if we beat X, Y and Z, and when you're looking at them on paper going, fucking hell, we should have battered X, Y and Z. But that's it, every single season. This is it, being an Evertonian. We're always sitting there going, if only we'd have beaten bloody Huddersfield at home, something stupid like that. It's always the same, and there was no excuse for Saturday, absolutely no excuse for me. And fans might turn around and this video might get a few dislikes, it might get a few negative comments and say, well, how can you sit there and defend Phil Jagielka when he was really, really poor? For me, listen, Marco Silva set that team out at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We seen that team, and a lot of fans, fair play, and a lot of fans said in the game preview, a lot of fans, commented on the game preview or, tweeted, I understand Phil Jagielka had a good game, but Michael Keane should come back in for me, and that's completely fair enough, and I understand that completely. But Marco Silva put the team out and Phil Jagielka was in the squad, and I sat back and I went, you know what, although maybe it would have been a little bit more, you know, ballsy to drop Phil Jagielka and say thanks for your effort, but, you know, Michael Keane's back now. You were literally only there as a replacement. Now that Michael Keane's back, you're going to be on the bench. But, you know, you can't really go too much against Marco Silva for keeping a team that absolutely battered Arsenal last week. You know, there's a saying in football, and there's a saying for the reason, you don't change a winning team, and Marco Silva didn't. He didn't change a winning team, and okay, you know, retrospectively now, you could be looking at it thinking, if he'd have brought Michael Keane in, we wouldn't have been in that situation. But again, if he'd have brought Michael Keane in and Michael Keane had made a silly mistake, you might be looking at it now thinking, well, why change a winning team? Why did he bring Jagielka out? He performed really, really well on Saturday, and that was my point. For me, you know, I've seen a lot of tweets of people saying, you know, if Jack's got a lucky goal on Saturday, he should have come out, Michael Keane should have been in. For me, it wasn't the goal against Arsenal that, you know, that ensured Jags kept his place. I thought defensively he was absolutely fantastic, and I will stick up for him because I had him in my predicted starting 11 for that reason. I'd have understood completely if he'd been taken out and Michael Keane had to come back in, and I understood where fans were saying maybe he should come out and Keane come back in, but I also understand Silva's logic in keeping him in there because I thought defensively he was fantastic against Arsenal. And if you look at the games Jagielka's played this season, he's played 3. Other than the game against Fulham, he played 3. He played against Arsenal, in which we dominated and defensively were really, really strong. Cardiff, in which we dominated and defensively were really, really strong. And the Wolves game, where he got stupidly sent off for a ridiculous challenge. So, realistically, you're looking at it and you're thinking, fair enough, Marco Silva's kept, and the rest of the team was kept the same. So, Phil Jagielka mightn't have had a great game, and you might be sitting there going, okay, you know, maybe the manager takes that one on the head. Maybe he should have been a little bit more ballsy. Maybe he should have, you know, just turned around to Jags and said, listen, thanks for your contribution last week, but, you know, Michael Keane's back now and he's the centre-half, so he's playing. Maybe he should have been, but that doesn't excuse the fact that Seamus Coleman was putting the ball out to play. That doesn't excuse the fact that Adesanya couldn't keep hold of it for more than 20 seconds. Doesn't excuse the fact that Andre Gomez was strolling around like he was on a beach. Doesn't excuse the fact that Luca Dean didn't have his best game, or Kurt Zouma. The whole team, for me, have to take the blame for that. And I don't want to be sitting here as an Evertonian seeing other Evertonians scapegoat Phil Jagielka. And that's not because of sentiment. That's not because he's been here 10 years, he's the club captain, or he had a good game last week. That's all irrelevant. That is all irrelevant. I just don't want to see people, you know, scapegoat Phil Jagielka when the rest of the team was absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking from top to bottom. We were awful. We didn't create any opportunities. The wingers, I can't remember the time Bernard was on the ball, or Richarlison. Dominic Calvert-Lewin wasn't fantastic, but I'm, you know, willing to give him his due because I think he's been brilliant in recent weeks. The midfield were poor, really, really poor. I mean, Gylfi Sigurdsson was shocking, and the two defensive midfielders didn't put in a performance that you'd look at and go, okay, they are a fantastic defensive midfield. You know, Gomez, like I said, waltzing around, didn't really look interested whatsoever, and Gay was poor on the ball, and the defence as a whole was shocking. The 2 goals we conceded were shocking goals to concede. The lad has a shot from outside the box, nobody decides to mark him, nobody decides to run the ball down, it goes in. And the second goal, literally, Ryan Babel picks it up pretty much in his own area and just goes that way. Now, Ryan Babel is about 362 years old. The fella's running around with a red fucking Barnet. A red Barnet. And we let him do that. It's embarrassing. It really, really is embarrassing. He's not a 21-year-old lad with absolute rockets of pace and, you know, he just breezed past us with all the quality in the world. He's shite. He is shite, and he walked past the entire team, and we walked at the same pace. Nobody got near him, and it was an easy finish in the end. It was a good finish, to be fair to him. I don't like the lad because he's an ex-copite, but it was a good finish. But he shouldn't have been in that position. As soon as he picked that ball up on the halfway line, and it looked like he was merely a threat to goal, he should have been clattered, or the ball should have been taken off him. And he wasn't. There was 3 Everton players that allowed him to walk alongside him and put an easy ball in the net. And Fulham had been sitting there going, how the fuck was that easy? How was that easy? How have we done that? 2-0 up, and at that point, you know, we're not getting anything out the game. You knew we weren't getting anything out the game when it was 1-0, but when it went to 2-0, you pretty much thought, get the fucking toast in the toaster, get the bread in the toaster, get the cup of tea on, get the fucking, you know, get the Chinese ordered, stick a film on, because we ain't getting fuck all out of this game. But you don't, of course. You watch the game because you're an Evertonian through and through, and you never know. But we pretty much did know, didn't we? Where are we? David says, sorry, I've read that one. Matthew says, we haven't, oh no, read that one as well. Paul says, Keane playing wouldn't have changed the result. I agree, Paul, I agree. It might be controversial, but I agree. David says, agree, Paul, they were all shite. Matthew says, 100% agree, the mentality was all wrong from the whole team. And David says, why Sigurdsson off for Lookman to play as the 10? Why not move Bernard inside instead? Yeah, just on Paul's comment there, I agree. Listen, I think Michael Keane coming in wouldn't necessarily have changed anything. I think, like you said there, the whole entire team was shocking. And, you know, let's not just scapegoat Phil Jagielka because he was poor. He is 36 years of age and maybe he shouldn't be playing in the Premier League week in, week out for Everton. But you can't excuse him for Seamus Coleman's performance or Gay's performance or Gomez's performance, can you? Really? And, you know, David raised a really, really good point there. When Gylfi Sigurdsson comes off, for me, if you're bringing Gylfi Sigurdsson off because he hasn't had a great game or because he's tired or whatever, there's only really Bernard that can slot into that number 10 for me and play it well. You know, putting Ademola Lookman in that 10 is just looking at a player going, you play that way of the halfway line, go there. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. He's not a number 10 whatsoever. The lad is either a striker or playing off the wing, and even that, he needs to kick his ass in gear because he's even, you know, a striker or a winger. He doesn't look like one of them at the moment, but he's not a number 10. He's not creative enough. He hasn't got the football and brain. I like the lad. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and, you know, I am excited to see if he stays at Everton, to see what he can, you know, give us in future years, but he's not a number 10. For me, there's only one other alternative number 10 in that squad, and you're absolutely spot on, it's Bernard. And if Gylfi Sigurdsson's coming off, Bernard should have fit right into that number 10. And who knows, maybe Gylfi Sigurdsson could have come off on 60, 65, 70 minutes. Bernard goes in that 10 and we start to see a little bit more creativity. You put Bernard in that 10 and all of a sudden you think, okay, let's switch it up a little bit. Bernard in the 10, Dominic Calvert-Lewin with Richarlison up front. Bernard, you get the ball, you do what you need to do, and you go that way or that way. Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, and who knows, we might have created a couple of more opportunities, and we only needed to create one really, really good attack, and that would have got the momentum on our side, and Fulham would have crumbled. And if we'd have scored one goal, we'd have carried on, and we could have scored another two and won the game, but we didn't. He didn't make a like-for-like substitution, and I understand that there isn't a number 10 on our bench, and maybe that needs sorting, because for me, I've said it in previous videos, Gylfi Sigurdsson isn't a number 10 either. He's a central midfielder that's just got a little bit more class than, or a little bit more quality than the average central midfielder. He can hit a ball from 30 odd yards, he can make a fantastic pass, but he's not a number 10, he's not quick enough on the ball and off the ball to be a number 10. Bernard, for me, is probably our most natural, if you like, number 10, and as soon as Gylfi comes off and Bernard's staying on the pitch, he should be moved to that number 10 then. You put Richarlison back on the left and you put Lookman on the right. That works as well. But I 100% agree. Why he wasn't, I don't know. Why Marco Silva doesn't seem to want to play Bernard in that number 10, I don't know. Where are we? Star says 7th spot is possible, but would you want Europa next season? I'm in two minds. I believe we need to become a regular Europa League team as progress as a club, but being in it next season might be too soon. I agree, and I think that's a really, really good point, and it's a fantastic question as well. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. Let's say, realistically, someone comes, you know, at you now, a genie or whatever, and says 7th place in Europa League football, or you stay out of it this season and you really, really push for the top 6/7th side next season. What you go with? I think the easiest option would be go, of course, you want to play European football, you want to be seeing your team against, you know, European clubs, you know, all this Thursday night, Tuesday night shit, forget about that. You want to see your team playing against European clubs, you want to be going around Europe if you've got the pleasure to do so, to go and watch your football club play, you know, against these fantastic teams. But that's a short-term thing for me. Short-term, you go absolutely unbelievably, but long-term, that might have a real effect on your season, it might have a real effect on your season, you know, the season after as well. Long term, let's leave it and let's, you know, build on the squad and then push for the summer. And I think it's a really, really good question. And for me, it's hard for me to say I don't want European football. It really, really is. It's hard for me to turn around and even thinking, you know, that the squad's probably not good enough as a whole, that the team might be good enough to play 2 games a week. Even saying that, it's just hard for me to turn around and say I don't want to see Everton playing in Europe, because European football attracts better players. It attracts obviously better football, you get to see your team more often, and you get to, you know, watch your team in European competitions, and the possibility of winning a European competition as well. It's really, really tough for me to say I don't want it, but I understand completely where the question is, and maybe logically, if we step back, there would be more pros to maybe leaving out of it this season and going for it next season, rather than putting in it this season and then struggling in the league because we haven't got a big enough squad. But one thing's for certain is Marco Silva and Marcel Brands have got a massive summer anyway. If we get into the Europa League, we've got an even bigger summer. So it's on them for me. It's on Marcel Brands to earn his money now. I've said it in previous teams. We've said it before. Marcel Brands needs to earn his money in this summer, and we need to be setting up for the first game of next season. Whether we're playing in Europe, whether we're not playing in Europe, we need to be setting up for the next game of for the first game of next season. In in a much better position than we are now. We need to address the issues, and that is that we haven't got a 20, 30 goal a season striker. We need to address the issues in the fact that, if we're signing Andre Gomez, get him in, get the deal done. What's happening with Garnegate? Are you leaving? Sound. There's the door. Are you not leaving? Sweet. Sign the contract. One or the other. We need to get a little bit of consistency, and we need to get a little bit of order in the football club for me. Paul says, can I just say good luck to the under-23s tonight? Yes, of course, spot on. I was going to mention it towards the end of the stream. Massive good luck to the under-23s tonight who are playing Brighton at Goodison Park. It is the opportunity for them to win the Premier League. If they win tonight, if they get the 3 points, they will secure the title. So a big good luck to David Unsworth's under-23 side. They're literally kicking off in just over 15 minutes. So massive good luck to those. Stoll says too soon as I'm not having the squad for it. Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think we do have the squad for it. I don't think we've got the set of players for it, to be honest with you. Samuel says I would get Keane back for the Man United game. I think Keane will start against Man United on Sunday. Ellie says, hey mate, are you Marco Silva in or Marco Silva out? By the way, love your channel. Thank you very much, Ellie. Thank you very much for the kind words. I am Marco Silva in. I still think he deserves time. We sat here after the 3 fantastic wins in the last couple of weeks, and we said, listen, let's give Marco Silva time. He's proven now that, he knows how to play, he knows what we need. Let's give him time, let's at least give him the summer, and I don't think that should change after, what granted was an absolutely shocking and embarrassing defeat. I still don't think that should change, so I'm still Marco Silva in for the moment. And Matthew says, PSG owners are looking to buy an English Premier League club, would you take them in Everton, Cam? Sophie's yes, but would probably lose our Everton and turn into a plastic club. I suppose the question is, would you want to be like a Manchester City? Now, yeah, people might go, you're a plastic club, you've only existed since the money, you're this, that, the other, but we'd never be like a City because we'd still fill out the stadium week in, week out. And if you say to me, you've got the opportunity to win the quadruple, having already won the League Cup, being in the FA Cup final, being in the top 2 of the Premier League, and the Champions League semi-final, I'd go, yeah, 100%. And if it means we win the Premier League and we're the best team in the world, yeah, I would take it. I'm not going to lie, I really would take it. I don't know whether there's any Evertonians that wouldn't. Be really interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. David says, I bailed on Europe a month ago. The players did a few days ago. They did. They seemed like they did against Fulham, mate. They seemed like they turned around and went, you know what? Not really interested in that Europa League. David says, no way PSG owners here would be financial fair play every season. Maybe we would. Maybe, it's a lot different to when Manchester City were taking over now and PSG were taking over. CJ says, who will stand in for Gomez for the next 3 games? I don't even know whether he's being banned yet. I know he put in quite a harsh tackle in the last minute of the game on Saturday. I don't know whether he's had retrospective action or will have retrospective action yet. I don't think he actually has. If he has, then Tom Davis maybe, Morgan Snadlin. I don't know if he hasn't, then I think it'll be Gomez. And David says Tom, yeah, probably Tom Davis, But anyway, I think that's going to do it for today's live stream. Listen, we pretty much summed up the game within the first 5 minutes of this team. We were embarrassing, we were shocking, we turned up, we were too naive, we were too arrogant, and we didn't give 110%. We didn't give what we give against Arsenal, we didn't give what we give against Chelsea, and we didn't give what we give against West Ham, and we got what we deserved. We absolutely got what we deserved. Fulham deserved the win, Fulham deserved the 3 points, and that's it. CJ says banned for 3 games. News just come out. Oh, fair enough. Probably Tom Davis then. And Matthew says Herrera to PSG. Is that being sorted as well? I don't know. I'll catch up in a minute. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. Like I said, shocking defeat on Saturday against Fulham. Can we bounce back against Manchester United on Sunday? Easter Sunday, of course. It's a bank holiday. So if we do, a couple of bevies there. But if we don't, then straight back home for the chase, I suppose. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on everything we've spoke about in the live comments. Be really interesting to hear what you guys have to say, and if you're watching it as a YouTube video afterwards, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below of the YouTube video. Like I said, massively disappointing loss against Fulham. Where do we go from here? Let me know in the comment section down below. Can we bounce back against Manchester United on Sunday, or is it just the inconsistency that we've seen for the rest of the season and we just have to ride it out until the end of the season and then go again in the summer? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, if you have enjoyed today's stream, please do leave a like. It really does mean a massive amount to me, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're really close to 500 subscribers, so that would mean a massive amount to me. Don't forget to join us again on Wednesday at 6:15 for another live stream. I haven't quite decided the topic yet, so if you've got any topics, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll go through them and maybe I'll pick one of them for Wednesday's stream. But I dare say there'll be a bit of news to talk about anyway, so we'll talk about that of course. Where are we? Garnett to United and Rabiot to Everton. I don't think would sell Garner, to be honest, to United. I really don't. Simon says, hi Cameron, sorry for constantly asking this, but are you returning to the career mode? It's okay, mate. I am looking to. I'm going to try and sort it out when I get a little bit of time. It's just been a little bit manic over the last few weeks and months, just with work and obviously doing the channel and the amount of games that Everton have been playing and being inconsistent in. But I am going to really look at it and try and get it back up and running. David says, if you have enjoyed the stream, leave a like. If you haven't, never mind, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Dave. David can pretty much predict my outro now. I feel like I should just leave it to you to do it, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for today's team. Massive thank you for watching. Like I said, don't forget to join me again on Wednesday at 6:15 for another one. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed. Leave your comments in the comment section about everything we've spoken about. Do you think Marco Silva was wrong to keep Phil Jagielka in the starting 11 for Saturday, or do you just think that whoever was in there, we were going to lose the game anyway because overall we were just shite? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, of course. And massive thank you to everybody for watching. Massive thank you to everybody in the live comments. I'll see you on Wednesday. Don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.